From our Toronto studios, this is the Muslim News on Muslim Network TV. Assalamu alaikum, I am Ahmed Ramadan. Indian filmmaker Ram Gopal Varma is facing backlash for comparing Israel's bombardment of Gaza to the Hindu festival of Diwali. This and more on today's show. Stay tuned. The International Court of Justice, or ICJ, has ruled that Israel must immediately lift restrictions on humanitarian aid to Gaza. It must also cooperate with the UN Agency for Palestinian Refugees, or UNRWA. In its advisory opinion from The Hague, the world's top court said Israel's blockade and ban on UNRWA operations violate international law. The judges reaffirmed that Israel, as the occupying power, has an unconditional obligation to provide food, medical supplies, and shelter to Palestinians. The court rejected every single argument from Israel, including the argument from Israel and the US that cited security concerns, ruling that no occupying power can use security as a reason to suspend all humanitarian aid. The court also warned Israel against using starvation as a weapon of war. The ICJ found no evidence supporting Israeli claims that UNRWA staff were linked to Hamas, calling the agency impartial and indispensable. Palestinian envoy Ammar Hijazi hailed the verdict as proof that Israel's conduct breaches international law and has urged the global community to ensure compliance. UNRWA's Commissioner General Philippe Lazzarini welcomed the decision, saying it clearly reaffirms Israel's duty to allow humanitarian access and protect aid workers. The ruling comes as Gaza faces severe shortages of food, medicine, and shelter after months of Israel's blockade and bombardment. Only Israel, the US, and Hungary disputed the majority opinion. A United Nations report has accused 63 countries of enabling Israel's genocide in Gaza. UN Special Rapporteur Francesca Albanese says the genocide was a collective crime sustained by these states' military, diplomatic, economic, and ideological support. She said 19 nations, including the US, UK, Germany, Italy, Japan, and Canada, supplied parts for Israel's F-35 fighter jets used in Gaza. 26 others, such as India, France, Austria, and China, sent arms and ammunition. The United States was singled out for using its UN veto power 7 times to block ceasefire moves. Allies like the UK, Canada, and the Netherlands were accused of shielding Israel diplomatically and supplying weapons. Albanese says the genocide was live-streamed to the world, yet sustained by Western complicity. She has also faulted Arab and Muslim states for failing to act decisively, saying some even expanded trade with Israel while Gaza's people endured famine and destruction. Israeli soldiers killed 1 Palestinian and injured 2 others in attacks across Gaza in the past 24 hours, Gaza's health ministry said. 13 bodies also were recovered, bringing the confirmed death toll since the start of Israel's genocide on October 7, 2023, to at least 68,280, with more than 170,000 injured. Since the October 10 ceasefire, Israel has violated the agreement every single day, killing 89 Palestinians and injuring 317. The World Health Organization, or WHO, says it has evacuated 41 critical patients and 145 companions from Gaza. WHO Director General Tedros Ghebreyesus says 15,000 more still await medical evacuation as the Rafah crossing remains shut. Meanwhile, Jewish and Israeli figures have urged world leaders in an open letter to protect the ceasefire and hold Israel accountable for occupation and apartheid. Israeli forces also shelled Syria's Daraa province and violated the ceasefire in Lebanon, bombing sites in Baalbek, killing at least 2 people. Indian filmmaker Ram Gopal Varma has come under heavy criticism after comparing Israel's bombardment of Gaza to the Hindu festival of Diwali. Varma, who is best known for movies like Satya and Company, wrote on X, "In India, only one day is Diwali, and in Gaza, every day is Diwali." His comment came as millions in India and around the world celebrated one of the most important festivals in Hinduism, with fireworks, lights, sweets, and prayers. Varma's post drew widespread condemnation for its insensitivity. Social media users called the comment inhumane, depraved, accusing the filmmaker of mocking Palestinian suffering. Many said Varma's words distorted the spirit of Diwali, which celebrates the triumph of good over evil. The outrage comes amid growing anger in India over the government's deepening ties with Israel. Protests have been held in several cities demanding that the government cut relations with Tel Aviv. Since 2023, India has abstained from UN ceasefire votes and refused to join the genocide case against Israel in The Hague. A group of 27 lawmakers has urged the State Department to secure the release of 16-year-old American citizen Mohammed Zahir Ibrahim, who has been detained by Israel since February without trial. In a letter to Secretary of State Marco Rubio and Ambassador Mike Huckabee, senators and representatives called the boy's detention deeply troubling. Those who have written the letter include Bernie Sanders, Elizabeth Warren, Chris Van Hollen, and Adam Schiff. Ibrahim, a Palestinian-American from Florida, was arrested after Israeli forces raided his family home in the occupied West Bank. Israel accuses him of throwing stones at illegal Israeli settlers, but has provided no evidence. Lawmakers say the teen has been denied family contact, lost a quarter of his body weight, and contracted scabies. They cited the death of another kidnapped minor, 17-year-old Walid Ahmed, as a warning of risks faced by Palestinian youths in Israeli captivity. President Donald Trump and Vice President J.D. Vance have condemned Israel's parliamentary vote favoring its annexation of the West Bank. Trump told the Time magazine it won't happen, stressing that Washington's policy opposes annexation. Trump said he has given a word to the Arab countries. He said Israel would lose all U.S. support if it annexed the West Bank. The Israeli Knesset had advanced a bill calling for formal annexation of the occupied territory. Vance dismissed the vote as a stupid political stunt, saying he was personally offended by it. He reaffirmed the Trump administration's policy against annexation remains firm. Both leaders warned that any move toward annexation could jeopardize U.S.-Israel relations and destabilize Washington's ties with Arab partners. But just last month, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu approved new settlement expansion plans, and the Knesset advanced bills to extend Israeli sovereignty over parts of the West Bank, steps towards formal annexation. In reality, Israel has exercised control over the territory for decades, making this a de facto annexation long before any vote. Pakistan's Navy has seized narcotics worth close to $1 billion in the Arabian Sea. Details coming up after the break.
You can time travel?
We're in 825 Baghdad.
Welcome back. New York City mayoral candidate Zohran Mamdani is being criticized for posting a photo with Imam Siraj Wahhaj. Wahhaj is a prominent Muslim cleric, once named an unindicted co-conspirator in the 1993 World Trade Center bombing. Wahhaj was never charged and has denied any links to terrorism. Republican Vice President J.D. Vance called the meeting a campaign with a terror plot conspirator. Mamdani's opponent in the race, former New York Governor Andrew Cuomo, said Wahhaj's past comments on homosexuality clash with New York's values of diversity and inclusion. Cuomo argued that Mamdani's judgment shows a disturbing disconnect. Mamdani dismissed the criticism as Islamophobic, noting that previous mayors, including Bloomberg and de Blasio, had also met Wahhaj. Mamdani accused Cuomo and others of exploiting his Muslim faith for political gain. Despite the attacks, Mamdani remains ahead in the polls as he aims to become New York's first Muslim mayor. Here is a special report on Imam Siraj Wahhaj and Mamdani.
These 14 Princeton University students have chosen to risk their lives. Their cause is a free Palestine. They are part of a student movement which has swept.
New York Attorney General is fighting back against major ICE raid. Letitia James has launched a new public portal. She is urging residents to submit any photos or videos of immigration enforcement actions. This comes after a large raid in Manhattan's Chinatown this week. The operation sparked major protests. Congressman Dan Goldman, a Democrat, called the raid a militarized effort to incite tension. He says 4 American citizens were arrested and held for nearly 24 hours. The new portal allows the public to share evidence directly with the state. The Attorney General's office will review all submissions for potential legal violations. New York City mayoral candidate Zoran Mamdani said the Trump administration chooses authoritarian theatrics that create fear, not safety. Pakistan's Navy has seized narcotics worth close to $1 billion in the Arabian Sea. The operation was carried out by PNS Yarmouk under the Saudi-led Combined Task Force 150's Operation Al-Masmak. Over 2 days, Pakistani forces boarded 2 suspicious dhows or vessels with no national markings or tracking systems. The first carried out more than 2 tons of crystal meth worth $822 million. Less than 48 hours later, another dhow was caught with meth and cocaine, valued at $150 million. All drugs were tested and destroyed. Officials said the seizure was one of the biggest in the Combined Maritime Forces history. The joint operation, launched on October 16, involved Pakistan, Saudi Arabia, France, Spain, and the United States. Commanders said the success showed the strength of international cooperation in combating drug trafficking at sea. A new nationwide survey shows that American Muslim voters were sharply divided in the 2024 US presidential election. Half voted for Kamala Harris, 31% backed Donald Trump, and 12% supported third-party candidates. The findings come from the Institute for Social Policy and Understanding, or ISPU, which conducted the first comprehensive poll of Muslim voters since the election. ISPU's research director Sahir Salod said Muslim voters are more complex than most post-election narratives suggest. The report found that 45% of Muslims who voted for Joe Biden in 2020 either switched sides or stayed home in 2024. Trump's outreach in Michigan, where he courted Muslim leaders, helped him win Dearborn's majority for the first time in decades. Researchers said Gaza and the economy were top priorities across all parties. ISPU Executive Director Tuka Nusayrat said American Muslims are not a monolith, but she said their votes are now key to future elections. Africa's mobile revolution is entering a new phase. At the Mobile World Congress in Rwanda's capital, Kigali, leaders said artificial intelligence and Fintech could unlock inclusive growth. They called for bridging digital and energy gaps. Rwandan President Paul Kagame said Africa's rapid digital rise shows innovation can thrive anywhere with the right policies. He called mobile money a model for empowering small businesses and women. But he warned that limited connectivity could widen inequality if not addressed. Communication Minister Paula Ingabire said collaboration across governments and industries is vital to make Africa a leader in digital innovation. International Telecom Union Chief Doreen Bogdan-Martin said AI could add nearly $3 trillion to Africa's economy. GSM Association head Vivek Badrinath added the continent's 710 million mobile users represent huge potential. He urged investment, fair regulation, and inclusive AI in African languages to ensure technology empowers people and drives sustainable growth. A tiny, wireless eye implant developed at Stanford Medicine has given people with severe vision loss the ability to read again. The chip, about the size of a grain of rice, works with smart glasses that project infrared light onto the retina. It replaces damaged photoreceptors and sends visual signals to the brain. In a clinical trial involving 32 people with advanced macular degeneration, 27 regained reading ability within a year. Some achieved vision sharp enough to recognize signs and text with clarity similar to 20/42 vision. The study, published in the New England Journal of Medicine, is the first to show that a prosthetic eye can restore form vision. It allows patients to identify shapes and patterns. Researchers say future versions may offer near normal sight. Some patients experienced minor side effects that resolved within weeks, while most reported significant improvement in daily life. That's all from our Toronto studios. Thank you for watching Muslim News. We are a community channel dedicated to bringing you stories you can trust. Please like, share, and subscribe to our content. You can also comment to let us know what you think of our coverage. You can donate now by visiting muslimnetwork.tv/donate. For more content, keep watching Muslim Network TV. Salam.